The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
It is Wednesday in the Riv and another rainy day. I'm sick of the rain. Let's get some sun.
It's going to be sunny tomorrow at 70 degrees.
Yeah, promises.
Did you turn your heat on?
Yeah, I always turn it on like October 1st, but I keep it low. I'm not like one of those people that walks around the house like at 85.
Yeah. No, I broke down yesterday and I actually turned my heat on.
Did you?
I was holding off. But when I woke up in the morning and it was 54 degrees in the house, I said, the hell with this.
That's it. Even when the dog was shaking, you knew you were in trouble.
I knew it was a problem when my dog was like right on top of me, drawing my body heat. So you know it's difficult.
Well, it's coming, but we're going to have a couple days. And it's going to go back to cool again on the weekend, I guess.
Yes, but it's only supposed to be cool and sunny.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, and as long as it's sunny, and it's the wind. We've had this wind from the hurricane for 3 days now.
And that's supposed to stop today.
That's a pain in the neck,
yeah,
the wind, because then you get the, even yesterday when it was raining lightly, you had that driving thing, so it made it feel worse.
And it's that cold, damp type of,
you know. I know my dog hates rain anyway, but that driving, even though it was light, because it was driving into her, that's it. She wanted to just get back in the house. That's it.
That's it. Yeah, my dog's the same way. My dog won't even go out of the house.
All right, what do we got? Just the facts, ma'am.
Well, that's something we'll get into in a little bit.
Okay.
I want to address the recent comments about affordable housing made by the mayor and a recent activist's response to his comments.
Oh yeah. Well, I was waiting for this one. Yeah. I've got a whole bunch of articles that segue in, but by all means, please.
Well, the mayor was on We Suck at Radio, where he goes right after our show all the time.
Yeah, but he does. Yeah, but they never watch.
Yeah, they never watch. And he said that he has a plan for affordable housing. It's just going to take time to work it out with the developers.
Well, there you go again. Pass the buck, Paul.
Right.
Pass the buck, Coogan. First, his plan was to give it to Catholic Social Services. Mm-hmm. Now it's to give it to the developers. That's not a plan. That is a handoff. This is the mayor of the city of Fall River not doing his job again. Mayor Mitchell doesn't hand things off. He has a plan.
Right.
When McKee running for governor, when he earmarks $250 million for affordable housing. But look, we got to, he's not good with numbers, and apparently he's not good with reading either. He still doesn't know the difference between public housing, workforce housing, and affordable housing.
Right.
And they are three distinct and different things.
Yes, they are.
Okay? Workforce housing, we can get into that. Take too long right now, but we've done it before. Nelson has covered workforce housing in front of the city council, I believe. It's like hitting a lottery. You got to get in a lottery.
And that's exactly what happens.
It is. It's a lottery.
Right.
So listen, he doesn't have a plan. He's never had a plan. He hasn't had a plan for anything. He had no plan for Malone except hide everything from the public, and again show not only the other thing he promised to be, transparent.
Swearing again.
Yep. And honest.
Another swear.
And again, misleading people about the cost, which we'll get into. But, this whole thing just goes to show, listen, and they're going to go, oh, you guys hate him. Look, I don't hate him. He actually, at one time, well, I don't know if that was really true or just politics, he used to say, oh, we're friends. He may not like the same baseball team I do, but the fact is that, Paul Coogan, when he was hiding over in Durfee, couldn't hurt anybody. Now he's hurting the people of Fall River because he's incapable of doing the job. I'm not saying he's a bad person. He's just an incompetent. It's that simple. He's not a leader. He's never been a leader.
He's just a bad mayor.
He's a bad, exactly.
He's just a bad mayor.
Make it simple. Bottom line,
Yep.
he's terrible. He's
Right.
a bad mayor. He's never had a leadership position in his life. He's always been a vice or a subordinate. He never really had to hire and fire people, give people merit ratings on how they're doing their job, evaluate budgets, and put together anything. He's never been a leader in anything he's done. The last person in the world that should be mayor. So I'm not condemning him as an individual. I want to make that clear. And it's my opinion, and you can think he's the greatest mayor in the world because you love parades and movies. That's your prerogative. However, he sucks as a mayor. He's made promises twice to reduce taxes or hold the line or reduce them. He didn't follow through. Again, another promise not kept. He promised to be transparent. He's not transparent about the police department, about crime, about drugs, about Malone, about anything. Everything is under the cover of darkness. Everything is done behind the scenes. Shut up and just let me create jobs and have parades and spend money. That's the problem. And Joe Cavallo, to his credit, called him on it.
That's right.
And he went right on running, I got a plan. You don't have a plan. Giving it to somebody else is not a plan. You don't work with developers. Developers are in the business of making money. You have already basically said that Kenny Fiola, who's your main man, has said he has no interest in affordable housing. Affordable housing is not worked out with a developer. What do you think? A developer's going to give a guy a deal? Oh, yeah, Paul. I'm going to get a whole bunch of people and lose money. That's why I'm building this building. That's why I came here. That's why I'm going to ask for a TIF. Because I'm going to make really affordable housing. Look, you insult people's intelligence when you make comments like that. You're going to work with a developer, a guy who's in the business. He's developing a property to make money off rents. And now you're going to have him make an appreciable dent in the amount of money he makes by reducing the money he's going to get from rents.
The odd thing is, though, that affordable housing is profitable.
Yeah.
You have companies in this state which are making money. The old Notre Dame building there, what's that, the St. Joseph School or whatever it was?
Yeah, the
That's
Mount St. Joseph School.
Mount St. Joseph School. That's now apartments?
Yep.
That's affordable housing.
Yeah.
Okay? Boredom East and West, affordable housing.
Yeah.
Okay? That's Peabody Properties. What's the name of that? The Academy Building.
Yeah.
Affordable housing. Not public housing. Affordable housing. And those are
Don't
properties.
get them confused.
Right, and I'm trying not to. Affordable housing people get tax credits for becoming affordable housing. Those tax credits last usually 10, 20, 25 years. Like Riverview Towers. They went through the process, their tax credits ended, and they were going to have everybody in there thrown out because the rents were going to go market rate.
Yeah.
Until the state legislature got involved and brought those tax credits back, because that's the only way to keep them affordable.
Yeah.
Now, we have market rate housing developers that are in the city, and Paul and the city council are giving them TIFs or ties or whatever you want to call them. Okay,
I could call him something, but you couldn't put it on the air.
Exactly. A long, long time ago, a gentleman made the comment about TIFs that they should be considered like a diamond, kept in the box, in the safe, and only taken out once in a while or once in a blue moon to be opened up and given to a developer or a business that's going to generate income for the city, jobs for the city, and substantial improvement to the city. That's what it was supposed to be for. Yeah. But this mayor and this city council and Ken Fiola abuse the TIF system.
Well, look, number one, we know that TIFs don't work. Columbia
right.
University. You can go online and Google TIFs, and there's a million articles. Columbia, and I forgot the other, two major universities.
Purdue, was it?
I mean, it might have been Purdue or something.
Yep.
They did long-term studies on TIFs and say they don't really help communities. But let's make something perfectly clear. If you're going to get a TIF, it should not be just given out to everybody.
Exactly.
And especially to people who need it the least.
Right.
Now, these people are loaded. And look, there is a distinction. Just like they try to pretend there's no distinction in this country, there is a caste system, like India, privileged and non-privileged. These developers that are coming in to develop market rate housing are predatory developers. They're here for the money. They're not here for the city. Yeah, there is affordable housing, but the profit margin is lower.
That's right.
And everybody knows that. They don't want that. They're here, and we did a couple of shows on that, those people, those multi-million-dollar real estate people that were trying to come down here in the Cape.
Right.
Remember? And they were shady at best.
Right.
A couple of them had some issues, legal issues, and we even read some of the cases.
That's right.
These people are not here for the best interest of Fall River. They may be here for the best interest of Kenny Fiola and all his friends and all Paul's friends who fall in the category of bankers, lawyers, developers, and other rich people. But look, he's never had a plan for anything. Have we ever seen a plan to straighten out the police department?
Nope.
No. Did we ever see a plan to fix the problems to show what Malone got away with? Has there ever been any action by him or the school committee to come down with a solid plan and a set of regulations to make sure it never happens again?
Nope.
No.
And you know why?
No, because that's what leaders do. Leaders go, okay, this department is screwed up. We're going to go in here and we're going to fix it. We're going to change whatever we need to change, and we're going to add whatever we need to add and subtract whatever we don't need, but we're going to fix this because this is costing us money. Well, they don't care because their incompetence, their lack of leadership costs the citizens of Fall River money. Paul never had a plan. That's why he never made principal. They wouldn't even put him in charge of a school.
Right.
And they put him in charge of a city.
Right.
So, look, if he wants to stay in Fall River after he's not mayor and prove me wrong, let him do it, and I'll admit it. I was wrong. If he stays in that house and he doesn't leave this city like he's got a vapor trail coming out of his anal sphincter, I would be very surprised. But the reality is he's never had a plan. He's not a leader. There are followers and there are leaders. And you know the old saying? Lead, follow, or get out of the way. It's time for him to get out of the way.
Exactly, exactly. And remember, they're following the mantra.
Yeah.
Keep your head down, keep your mouth shut, and everyone will forget about it.
Yeah, but he never keeps it. He's got to go on. Right,
he's got to open his mouth.
Right after, like he's done that how many times? Right after one of our shows, he's on WSAR.
I know.
And now this. Now, Joe Cavallo, let's get back to Joe. That letter was a scathing indictment
Exactly.
of him.
And he said in his letter that Mayor Mitchell has a plan.
Yeah.
Mayor Mitchell published his plan. What's your plan? Show me your plan, he said.
Oh, he's working on it with the developers.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. But see, that's the thing. You catch him in his lie.
Right.
Because he said a while ago he had a plan. That plan was Catholic Social Services.
Right. But they don't make affordable housing.
We know that.
That's right.
We know that. But we said that, but it doesn't matter. That was his plan.
Right.
I turned it over to Catholic Social Services. But now he's been exposed again. Another line of BS. Now he's being pressed again. Now he's, I got a plan. I'm going to let you're going to let somebody else in. You're the damn mayor. You're the mayor. Do you think during a D-Day invasion, the general that was leading the D-Day invasion, and all the other generals that were on the battleships getting status reports of what was happening when our greatest generation was dying on the beaches to free the world, do you think that they said, wait a minute, I'm going to work it out with the Nazis?
We're going to sit down for tea.
Wait a minute. No, leaders have to make decisions. Leaders lead. They take the arrows in the forehead. Leaders have to make, in case you may not understand this, but I do, because even on a fire ground, you have to make errors of commission, not omission. What that means, Paul, in case you can't follow that, is you can't do nothing, and that's what you're doing. I used to tell all the lieutenants and captains who worked under me, because sometimes I didn't get to the fire first, because it might have been in another part of the district where the engines and the trucks were closer. They might be on a scene. And the standard operating procedure for the department was senior officer takes charge of the fire scene until relieved by a superior officer. And then when the chief gets there, he's the incident commander. But I always told my officers, you get to a fire, don't stand there and look at the building and wait for me to get there and tell you what I want to do. You've got to do it. And I don't care if it's not exactly what I would have done or even the wrong thing, but do something. Because you have to do something.
As the old line goes, and I can't say the original word, but crap or get off the pot.
Yeah, you have to do something. I said, if you get there and you do something that maybe tactically wasn't the greatest thing, I don't expect you to know that. You're a lieutenant, you're not a chief. But you and I will have a conversation about, look, this is the way you got to do things. We drill on these tactics and stuff. But if you do nothing, you're going to be pulling my boot out of your rear, because you're going to be in big trouble. If I sit there and I see you with your thumb up your rectum, standing there, you're in trouble, because you can't do that. You can't do that as a police officer. You can't do that as a firefighter. We saw what happened when people who have an obligation to lead fail in Uvalde. When children died while police officers stayed in the hallway and did nothing, and their command were keeping people out while children died. Leaders have to make decisions. Do they always make the right ones? No, because I'll tell you what I learned a long time ago in an exercise in the military. Sometimes you're put in a situation where there are no right or wrong answers. But understand one thing, there are consequences for every decision you make, but you have to make a decision. And you never, ever in your career had a job where you had to take the bullet, where you had to stand up and say, I'm the leader, this is what I want to do, and if you're right, you can have a parade. If you're wrong, they're going to crucify you. But that's what you get paid to do. That's what you are. You are supposed to be the chief operating officer, the chief executive officer. You are in a place that Harry Truman said the buck stops here. You pass the buck all the time. Everything out of your mouth is, I'm going to talk to the developers. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You don't do anything by yourself. You're the boss. You can delegate authority, but you don't abdicate the fact that you have responsibility for everything that happens here, because you are the leader.
He keeps saying he's got a plan. He keeps saying he's got a plan. Maybe I should make a public records request. He'll have 10 days to comply and produce that plan.
Yeah, but remember, he always gives you, to the best of my knowledge.
I know.
He is also the tap dancer, Paul
Right.
the tap dancer. He's like Gene Kelly, dancing around. To the best of my knowledge, you know what he'll say? Oh, I said I'm working it out with the developers. So if we got 10 different developers, you got to work out 10 different plans? What the hell is the matter with you? The city has to have a plan. That's what Joe Cavallo was saying.
That's right.
Mitchell has a plan. Mitchell is a leader. Why is Fall River where it is now, as opposed to New Bedford, which has moved forward? Look at the last crop of mayors. We're going nowhere because we have no leadership. And that's the problem.
And, you know, as much as people dislike Jaisler for what he did, and remember, it's for what he did. When he was mayor, he was a leader.
Yeah.
He took the bull by the horns. He got rid of Ken Fiola.
Yeah.
He got rid of things that were not working. He made sure Fall River started to streamline. He got rid of trash collection, which was supposed to save money, but obviously it hasn't. But he at least took a chance.
Yeah.
He did something, like you said, you've got to make a decision.
He was a leader.
Yeah, you got to make a decision. Paul hasn't made any decisions.
But he's never made one in his entire life.
Yeah.
CJ,
this
you
is the
know that.
problem.
He's been in a position of, he's a subordinate all
Right.
the time. You know, you don't make a PFC a general. You don't make a lieutenant a general. You don't make a lieutenant a chief either.
I was
but they
going to
did.
say.
But I guess it runs in a family. But the fact is that, you know, as you said, you know, everybody is not happy with Jaisler because of what he did. And what he
Right.
did was wrong, obviously. Obviously. Nobody is contesting that fact. But Sean Kadim was very accurate when he said in the council that Jaisler was a better leader than Paul. And that
Right.
was at the beginning. And he's gotten progressively, he's done nothing.
Right.
He's not, and you can't blame COVID now. It's gone. Even Joe Biden said it's gone. He might
Yep.
not know that right today because he said it yesterday. But, I mean, I don't know. But the reality is, you know, he has proven one thing. He never saw a critical issue that he couldn't run away from and hide.
Well, I want to make something very clear about affordable housing. There is a provision in the law, the MBTA law, okay? So remember, this is the question you're going to be voting on. In the MBTA law, there is a provision for those development zones a half a mile around the T stations is supposed to be for housing developments. 15 units per acre, I believe. And they recommend that some of those units be affordable housing. But they put a caveat in there. It says, but the city or town can reject affordable housing.
Yeah.
And that's what Paul and Kenny have done because they want to put all their market rate housing in this basket.
Yeah.
And here's the problem. If a no vote prevails on the MBTA, these developers are going to lose their shirts because they will not be able to get market rate rents because the train won't be here.
No,
And what's going to happen is those are going to become, one way or the other, affordable housing or public housing or Section 8 or something along that line.
Yeah, you're right. But, yeah, that segues us into that about the MBTA. We were telling the truth. We keep telling people that you get in, you can never get out. Here's an article from the Bourne Enterprise, Bourne Town Meeting, MBA withdrawal, rejects MBA withdrawal. Actually, some people with a half a brain realized the kind of impact that the MBTA has on it, and they wanted to get out of the MBTA.
Right.
So, but of course, it's a highly democratic. It's only a small little. It's only got 20,000 people in Bourne, and it's a lot better, financially better off than
Right.
But they don't want it. Somebody with a brain said, you know, this is we're not going to use it that much, and it's because it take you forever to get the board, and we don't want it. So, and that's their prerogative. Look, we've never said vote the way we want to vote. We just want information. That's the problem. Paul and Carol Fiola are suppressing accurate information, and that's wrong. And like I said, if Paul wants to have a beer, you know, I don't drink beer, but if Paul wants to have a hamburger like Flanagan did with us, we'll sit down with them. It doesn't mean we're going to agree with them, and that's the problem. We don't dislike him. We just say he sucks as a mayor. But This is what Bourne did. But then their corporation counsel or whoever, whatever the euphemistic thing they call their lawyer, told them what we already know. There is no provision in the law to get out.
That's right.
You can't get out. They pull you back in, just like the mafia. You know, when Michael Corleone, I tried to get out and they pulled me back in. You can't get out. It's here forever, and the bill's here forever. He told them there's nothing. There's only a way to get in. And the only way not to get in is to say no.
That's right.
And that's what Bourne did. I mean, they rejected it. They're going to get it, and they're going to get the bill. And you know something? The people who were at that town meeting saying, no, we want to get in 10 years, you know what they're going to be saying? Like they said about the charter. What the hell did we do to ourselves? They're going to be like Watertown, Arlington, Newton, all the Boston area places that have been complaining, not yesterday, not last week. From 2018, they've been complaining about the MBTA, and it's only going to get worse. So all we're talking about here is, as Joe Cavallo, and kudos to Joe, he's a very good friend of mine. I have the utmost respect for that man. He put it on a line about affordable housing because he knows that it's a big he's had to sit through those meetings with the Flint and knows what a crock they're giving him, you know, what kind of manure they're shoveling. But this also applies to the MBTA information. The transparent mayor will not come out and say what the Herald News said. We're not going to pay anything in 23, but we will pay.
Right.
He will not say that. It can't come out of his mouth. It gets stuck. He just goes, You're not going to pay a penny this year. He doesn't finish the sentence. That is malfeasance. He's a public official. He's the mayor of the city of Fall River. He has a constitutional obligation to be answerable to the people, and he has a legal obligation, and I cited the case law before the city council, to give all the facts to the people, to look deeply into issues, not just say we're not paying anything this year and don't worry about it because Paul Coogan's not going to live here when it bites us in the butt. And that's the problem with Paul Coogan. He lacks leadership. He lacks the courage to be a leader. He should not be a leader. It's not, if he wants to go out to a baseball game or something, as long as it's a Yankee game, yay, Aaron Judge hit 62 yesterday, good. But then you can hate me more because I'm a Yankee fan, so that's good. I don't care. But he lacks... He lacks the tools for the job. Like I've always said, long before Paul Coogan, if my next door neighbor's a plumber and he sucks as a plumber, I would never hire him to be my plumber. I might have a cookout with him, but I'm not going to hire him to do my plumbing. And Paul may be the greatest guy in the world to go out and have a beer with or go to a movie. But in my opinion, he sucks as a mayor.
No argument for me on that, none at all. And, you know, that's the sad part about it. I mean, when we got him the first time, he was running against Jazel. People just didn't want to put Jazel back into office, knowing that he was probably going to jail.
You think there's any buyer's remorse?
Oh, I think there's a lot of buyer's remorse. Then he was running against Cliff, which would have been a good choice, I believe, for Fall River. But Cliff does like Paul does. Can't keep his mouth shut.
Yep.
And doesn't listen.
Yeah.
When you're being told what to do, you do it.
Yep.
You don't think you know better, and you keep your mouth shut. That memo killed him, and that's what killed him, because Paul would not stop jumping on it,
Yeah.
and there was no defense.
No.
There was no defense on it. So it makes it very difficult to argue.
And the irony is, Paul became him,
Right.
a ceremonial mayor.
Exactly. So it's always very interesting. Well, we didn't get to this today, but we will get to it sometime soon. I want to thank you all for watching, and remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Friday.